Welcome to episode 15. I am your host, Summer King. Tonight we're going to be traveling to Liverpool, Ohio, and explore a forgotten and abandoned ghost town known as Sprucevale, where a woman in a wedding dress is said to be spotted wandering mainly across the bridge of Beaver Creek. On August 12, 1836, Esther Hale excitedly jumped out of her bed and prepares for her upcoming wedding. She was prepared to marry the love of her life, whom she had been seeing and been engaged to for quite some time. As she puts on her wedding dress and heads to the chapel, she dreams of a happy life as a wife and eventually a mother. However, that dream will never come true. As the music and guests pile into the chapel, Esther noticed that something was wrong. Her lover or fiancé never showed. She decided to wait for a bit, thinking that he was running late. After all, back in those days, many rely on horse carriage as a form of transportation. So it's no surprise that it takes them longer than anticipated to arrive at a certain location, especially when we're living in a time period where it's all woods and potential dangers and the possibility of being attacked by bandits. Esther continues to wait for her fiancé, even after the music died down and the guests emptied out of the chapel. After declaring that the fiancé was a no-show, Esther continues to wait, but couldn't help the feeling that her fiancé left her at the altar, or should I say, never showed. After the chapel emptied, Esther was heartbroken, realizing that her wedding and dreams will never come true. She went back home, and for weeks, no one has saw her or even attempted to emerge from her home for quite some times. Even her close friends and families would check up on her. And after no response, they eventually went inside her home. They were shocked to see that her home is still decorated for what would have been the reception, and she was still wearing her wedding dress. After her friends urged her to come out and change and eat, she eventually ate something and told them to leave, which they did so. They tried and tried again to encourage her to come out of her home and continue to enjoy life and eventually find someone new, as there was an indication that her fiancé either abandoned her or he might have died in a tragic accident or been murdered, as back then it is very common to fall victim to violence. But still, Esther refuses to leave her home and still continues to wear her wedding dress. Although she was breathing, her eyes became hollow. One day, on December of 1837, a delivery boy was delivering supplies to Esther's home. He noticed that there was snow piled around and in the doorway. He went to investigate it and found Esther's lifeless body lying on the table, still wearing her wedding dress, as if she was still waiting for her lost fiancé. He immediately reported it to the sheriff, and to this day, the spirit of Esther continues to haunt this now abandoned and forgotten town in search of her lost lover, now enraged as her dreams had not only been dashed, but she believed that her fiancé abandoned her, which fueled her rage. Today, not much remains of the famous town that Esther lived in. Only a couple buildings and the famous bridge of Beaver Creek that Esther now haunts. According to many motorists and passerbyers, many have claimed to have encountered a decaying woman dressed in the flayed wedding dress, which was that of the spirit of Esther Hale, still wandering around the now abandoned and forgotten town and bridge, still lost and fueled by her rage of her lost love and lost dreams. According to legend, when she was buried, she was still wearing her wedding dress, according to the authorities, when they found her lifeless body slumped over her kitchen table, she had been dead for weeks, which I can see why they would bury her in her wedding dress, as her body could be fragile, although that is the myth. Esther's ghost has been known to have lunged at passerbyers, and according to legend, if she touches you, you will wither and die, and she will regain her youth, and will feed off of the life forces of anyone who would have high hopes that she once had, indicating that if she can't be happy, then no one can. But at least she'll be young and beautiful forever, as long as she continues to feed off the life forces of anyone who would pass through the Beaver Creek Bridge and would dare to have any high hopes and dreams that she had lost long ago, all because her fiancé never showed up at the altar. Although it is unknown why her fiancé never showed up, given the time period, this is to show that how far someone's rage can go to, even after death. So if you are ever passing through the Beaver Creek Bridge by where the once famous town that Esther had lived during her lifetime, and if you see a decaying woman in a flayed wedding dress, do not stop, keep driving through or moving forward, and do not let her touch you, for she will drain not only your life force and youth, but any happiness you have, as she continues to rage on over her lost lover. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and comment your favorite ghost stories. And until next time, stay classy, and I'll see you all in the next episode.